That's where the meeting is going to be held. Right there in the corner over there. If you guys want to come on down and say hi. Over here with Good Citizen, of course. Here with John Doe Media, West White. You guys want to check him out on YouTube and Instagram. So it looks like today they're going to be going over some of the equipment that they got approved for. A lot of that equipment is military style equipment. Now what that exactly means, we're not sure, but that's what we're here to find out. And we also want to know what that military type equipment is going to be used for. What type of situations. Give us a better idea of what they're working with and why they need it. So that's what we're here. We're not here to stir up trouble. We're just here to take a little video, attend the public meeting here, and get a little education. So usually when I come to these types of meetings or events or community events, whatever you want to call them, there's really not much community here. It's mainly personnel and city workers. There's a few citizens. I know Wes likes to attend a lot of stuff. He covers a lot on the homeless, helping out with the homeless and other issues as far as renters.
My name is McGregor Eddie. I'm appointed by Carla Viviana Gonzalez to be on the Police Community Advisory Commission. I'm here to attend the Salinas City Police AB 481 compliance, where they display and discuss the use of their military equipment. I have to say, the police have done their part of the job. They have published it on time and the report, which is a good thing. There's another part to it though. The governing body, in this case the City Council, needs to approve that policy and discuss it inconsistent with community policy. For example, our city has a mine-resistant, ambush-protected armored vehicle, a menacing-looking thing called an MRAP. Oakland also has one. We have no policy, none, as to when it should be used and when it shouldn't be used. Most cities have a policy set not by the police, but by the City Council, usually in consultation with their committee and the community. And it takes a while. We're not going to get a policy like this, but this policy was hammered out over months. And it talks about, yes, it can be used for protection from fire. Yes, it can be used in certain, but it cannot be used in crowd control. It cannot be used to threaten. It cannot be used at public events to present the face of the police force, because that's not community, and we get to say that. And this is like an ideal. This came out of years of work, but each piece of military equipment there is used consistent with the policy of our elected representatives. They are not rubber stamped. It's a process. And in that process, the people need to speak and come and open up this discussion and ask, where is it used? When is it used? Is it used in certain neighborhoods more than others? How much does it cost the city? How much does the training cost? Because very often with this equipment, the training is much more expensive than the rifle. It's the training that's needed. And so we need to ask deep and thoughtful questions, but we're a very intelligent community. We've accomplished amazing things. I lived here in the 80s when we had gang killings, and that has been stopped by a community-wide efforts. So we can do things. We can face things, and I think this is going to be productive.
Well, good evening. My name is Roberto Filic. I'm the Chief of Police. Welcome to our AB 481 public meeting to discuss our military equipment. As you know, AB 481 is Assembly Bill 481 was passed to ascertain that everything that's used within law enforcement fulfills the requirements for safety. And that's what we're here to present to you, what the Salinas Police Department has under AB 481. Tonya, thank you. So in April 26, 2022, we entered a new ordinance into the chapter of the Salinas Police Department, Salinas Municipal Code, to add Assembly 481, and those was presented to Council in August 2022 and was passed and adopted. And tonight is our first annual report as required by AB 481. Tonight is also the community meeting as required by AB 481 to discuss or to answer any questions about military equipment. And this will go to council on August 22nd, 2023 as required by the Assembly Bill. And also we plan on presenting the next annual report of the usage up to 2023, the first quarter of 2024. So what does AB 481 encompasses? Encompasses several categories, of which we do have sub-equipment, and some of the equipment does fall into these categories. There are 15 categories. We don't have equipment of each and every category. Category 1 is our unmanned aerial system, also known as drones. And as you can see, in 2022, we used drones 164 times. And what do we use it for? Well, it's to support law enforcement, to provide safety and intelligence for law enforcement as we combine or as we carry out our operations. Some of the usage of it during the deployment is to try to ascertain the location of fleeing suspect, collection of evidence in the form of videos. Also, we use it for major traffic collisions. They create, obviously, collision scenes. We also have used it for mutual aid. Fire department have contacted us during major fires, and we were able to provide equipment so that they can safely operate. In category 1, we also have the unmanned remotely powered ground vehicles. And those are, we have 2 of those. We have, we have deployed it twice in 2022. And these are, again, everything that we have is, you will see the common theme is safety. And it is to provide safety and also to provide information for the incident commanders or the officers addressing a certain scene. We use it for, we use it to try to locate barricaded subjects so that we don't have to send an officer into a dangerous location. We also use it for delivering hostage phones or two-way communication phones. We also use it to try to open doors and use it to clear buildings, so that whenever we can avoid using an officer and putting his or her life in jeopardy, we will try to do so. The next that we have is a category 2, is our MRAP. Many of you have seen it. We have used it 37 times in 2022, and we use it obviously to transport personnel to unsafe location. We also use it to provide safety and to extract citizens from volatile incidents. Whenever it's needed, we're going to be out there. Some of the issues that we have encountered as officers taking rounds, we need exactly this type of vehicles to protect us from our officers getting killed. We use it to support a SWAT team, our violence suppression task force, and even patrol, depending on the situations. Mostly we use it for pre-planned operations, i.e. search warrants or arrest warrants. They require high level of safety. We also use it for as a greater protection, but not only that, we also use it for natural disasters and to provide help for the citizens and the residents out there in Salinas and wherever we're called for. We also use it for community events, and it's one of the most sought out vehicles when we do community events. Kids love playing on the vehicle, and I tell you, when I was a kid and I had access to something like that, it would have been fun, just because it's a cool thing to have, and kids love it. It brings us close to being engaged with our community. The next that we have is command mobile. So our command vehicles, it's an incident command vehicles. We used it 5 times in 2022. It is used exactly what it's called for, it's a command vehicle. You can run a critical incident out of that vehicle without having to recreate what you already have available to you. It's fully contained and equipment, with communication equipment. Therefore, the incident commander or incident commanders can be closer to a scene and be able to provide troops on the ground with directives. We also have an ICAC vehicles that was used twice in 2022. And the ICAC vehicles, which ICAC stands for Internet Crimes Against Children, is used as part of a countywide task force where we can go to a scene in which we suspect the pedophiles utilize computer equipment to access kids on the internet, and so that they would become the next victims. That's what we're trying to avoid, and that's what we use this vehicle for. The next we have breaching rounds. These are breaching rounds, as just the word itself would tell you. They're rounds that are designed for us when we encounter doors, they're closed, locked, and we can have access. The old movies are using the ram to get the door in. Those are in the movies. We still use the rams, but if we can, we would like to use something like this. In 2022, we have never deployed them, and we haven't used them. And we use them in high-risk incidents, and obviously they're designed so that upon impact, they dissolve into powder and don't hurt anybody. We also have the weapons that actually shoot this type of rounds. In 2022, we did not deploy them, but we do have it exactly for the same situation. Those are the rounds that we use. These are the weapons that we use to deploy those rounds. We also have specialized firearms and ammunition used by our SWAT team and used by highly trained officers. We haven't deployed it in 2022. However, you see that there is an annual cost to it because we upgraded the safety systems on all of them just to be even more safe. It is used in those situations in which there is a high potential risk to officers or community members, and in where your sidearms is now it's not the best equipment to use in that particular situation. We use it in active shooter situations, obviously well-armed individuals, and other high volatile situations in which it requires a high level of accuracy. We also have explosive projectiles launchers. As you can see, we have not deployed it in 2022. They're used, we actually morphed it into use them with less lethal type of force. That's because the Salinas Police Department does not own any explosive projectile. Therefore, we don't use this particular launcher for those projectiles, but we use them for 40 millimeters, which they fall under category 14, which is one of the 15 categories I mentioned to you. Next, we have distraction devices or flashbangs. That's what's used by our violence suppression task force, a SWAT team, to reduce the potential of injury during a critical incident. They are devices. They're designed for distraction. We deployed 10 times in 2022, and we use it in barricaded subject, in hostage situation, high-risk warrants that we're serving, and those are some examples of the usage in which they're utilized. All of that is the direction of the incident commander or the task force commander as they are utilized. We also have chemical agents and a smoke canister. We did not use them in 2022. We did not deploy them in 2022. And they're commonly referred to as tear gas. And again, as you can see, just as anything else, it's all used in high volatile situation in which there is a high risk, high possibility for officer and or citizens to be injured. So we use tear gas after we are given the suspect and or suspects many chances to surrender, and then we need to resort to the next level of force, which in this case could be a tear gas. We also have 40 millimeters projectiles launchers. We have deployed it 9 times in 2022. these are what we consider less lethal weapons. So as you know, our officers are well trained in de-escalation techniques, and whenever those de-escalation techniques don't work, or the suspect is escalating the situation, before we resort to lethal force, which we try to avoid at all times, we also try less lethal. Those are 40 millimeters projectiles, and we have utilized these several times successfully to de-escalate situations and take a suspect in custody without any injuries to anybody. In the next city council meeting, we're going to provide the council meeting with a request to purchase some additional, actually not additional, but it's a replacement for AB 481 equipment. We're going to request some drones. We're going to request some flashbangs and chemical agents, and one additional 40 millimeter launchers. All of these requests comes as a result of an incident, I shouldn't say all of it. Majority of it comes as a result of an incident that we had a few months ago, in which several of our pieces of equipment were destroyed by the suspect, and now we have to replace them to continue our mission and keeping our community safe. And that's going to go to council as a request. These are the requests with the quotes. So we're going to be requesting the first three that you see are drones, the first three items. Obviously, flashbangs explains by itself, and 40 millimeter launchers. All of this is coming out of our budget of the police department. We're now asking city council for any additional appropriation for funding. We're just going to fund it within our budget, correct?
It's insurance for the drones.
Correct. And the drones is actually money that we have received from insurance companies from the one that got damaged in the barricaded subject. We always welcome the feedback of the public. So any feedback you want to provide, we'll take it into account. And then we'll be moving to a presentation on August 22nd at City Council, just per Assembly Bill 481. This concludes my presentation. I'd be more than happy to entertain any questions. If I cannot answer your questions, then I'll get back to you. We'll take notes and get back to you. Anybody has any question that I can answer for you? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I was looking at your report of complaints. Can you go back to the MRAP?
Sure. Okay.
It says no complaints.
Correct. We have received no complaints about the usage of our MRAP.
I complained in writing last year and in person at the time of the annual night out. I was present. I had materials about peace, and I thought that at a community event, for the face of community policing, that having a vehicle was not appropriate, and I made a written complaint, and I told the city council, and there's no message of that complaint.
Okay.
I do not think it is a good sign that there are 0 complaints every single time. You see, as a nurse, we know there's sometimes symptoms, and the symptoms tell us that we're able to measure them. I mean, if you always get 0, isn't it odd that nobody has ever complained?
I don't think it's odd at all, but I would have to follow up. I don't know who you made a complaint to. You didn't get it to my desk.
Well,
So-
you see, I've had this
That happens a
problem
lot.
with your office a lot. People say, oh, it's not that person. If I ask for a copy of a report on the day that it's due, I'm told no one knows where it is and that person's in a meeting. It's not easily, you see the same thing with complaints.
Yep.
Where do you know, if I make a complaint and I make it to the relevant parties and I can produce witnesses that I complained to many people about the presence for children to play on, I don't think that's a good thing for a peaceful community,
Okay.
for community policing. I love what you say in the CASP report, where you say that we want a community where people feel safe.
Okay.
And I don't think weaponry makes them feel safe.
And I truly respect your, your opinion.
But we're
And
happy.
just as many people that tell us that they don't want to see that in a community event, we have just as many that they ask us for.
I would very much like to take a poll and ask
You're
people.
more than welcome to do it, ma'am.
I would be delighted, but my question is, you think it's a good thing that no one ever complains? You really think that's a good thing? You don't think that that may mean that it's hard to complain or intimidating to complain? Or that when you walk into your office, the people there say that person's in a meeting and no one knows how you should file a complaint? For example, if I were to make a complaint, I was told today that I was looking on the wrong website for information. How am I supposed to know? I'm an college-educated woman. I'm a middle-class woman. If I can't find the right website, I really question whether a homeless person or a person who doesn't speak English or a person who's intimidated would be able to make a complaint. So I put it to you that you're 0,000 complaints, and I'm very offended when you say that I didn't make my complaint in the right way. Because
I
I'm
didn't say
telling
that,
you
I
something.
just say your complaint didn't get to me, so.
I didn't get to you.
That's why I have to put 0.
But
If
it
I
doesn't-
don't have a complaint, I'm not gonna put something else up there, so.
But-
I only go based on complaints that we receive, that's what the AB 481 asks us to do,
So if
so.
Lino Sanchez decides not to pass off a.
Did you have a question about AB 481?
Well,
sir?
no, this is just a question about complaint process.
This is not my complaint process, sir. Did you have a question about AB
Well,
481?
yeah, I do have a comment about the AB 481. My personal opinion is that getting really excited about using a $300,000 vehicle to attract children seems a little creepy to me.
Not sure what your question
If I had a
is.
$300,000 vehicle that the thing that I thought was the
Which
greatest
one are
thing
you
about
referring to,
it,
just so I understand?
well, it just seems like grooming.
Okay.
You're trying to get a hold of children.
I want to be able to give you an answer, but I don't understand your question, so I'm asking again. If you can, explain the question.
What is the interest to the public in getting a piece of playground equipment that you can drive out to the rodeo and have kids crawl all over?
Piece of playground.
You're talking
This
about your
equipment.
MRAPs for
Yes,
community
if
events.
you're referring to us taking that to community events,
Yes.
yes, that's the majority of the requests that we get. We actually have a ton of requests.
That's not the
for
question I
kids
asked,
to
sir.
have-
That's not the question I asked, sir. I said, what benefit does that provide to the public safety of the city? in general?
Transparency, it shows, you will let the public know what we have. So we don't hide, it's like, there it is. You can see the inside and the outside of it. And that's what the whole point of it is. And also to engage in a conversation with our community in which that piece of equipment always generates a lot of conversation, which is great. It allows us to engage our community and share with them what we have that they also are part of. Because this police department, as I said, from day one is becoming a chief. It's not my police department, it's the community's police
My
department.
opinion, it's kind of creepy.
Chief,
Okay, I respect that.
could I also add just to the AMRAP? So the majority of community events that we have, whether they're schools or the National Night Out, rodeo stuff, we get a phone call requesting, say, the AMRAP. And I would say out of all the equipment that we have, that's probably the most popular. We get teachers, we get principals from schools that ask us to bring this stuff. Because the kids love it. It's just another toy that they've never seen. I don't think it's creepy
Could I
at all.
get it out for a
We are
birthday
not-
party or
well,
something
let
like
me-
that?
Let me continue here.
Okay, sure.
Kids love big things, you know. Have you heard of Touch a Truck? We just had one recently at Compass Church. Our AMRAP was there. Kids love that. We're having another one, the 27th, which is going to be at the rodeo grounds. Same thing. It's going to be well attended by kids. It's not just our vehicle that's going to be there. Yes, it's a piece of armor that we utilize, that SWAT utilizes, that the police department utilize to protect us, right? It's just another piece of armor. But to the kids, it's something that's fun. And that's what it's all about. There's nothing, that's wrong with trying, like the chief said, trying to be transparent, not just to the kids, but to the parents that bring the kids. They love to see that stuff, and then we get to interact with them and interact in a positive manner. Because a lot of times Maybe there's times that, you know, whether the parents are having a domestic dispute and we get there and these kids see the bad portion of what our job is, well, this is the positive, the more lighter side of things. So that's, I mean, that's the way we see it.
Any other questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, actually I have one. With all the equipment that the officers currently have to, you know, use for protection for yourselves and the community and everything that they're assigned, especially for the task force, they got about everything on there that they can get. You know what I mean? As far as protection, weaponry, everything you need is on that vest and on their persons, correct?
Okay?
Okay, and then we also have all this other equipment that you guys utilize for the community as well in emergency situations. For example, when you guys had the, over on Sun Street with the shooting. So how much more do we need if we already have this?
Well,
I mean,
obviously
how much further do we gotta go? You know what I'm saying?
It's obvious that we don't have enough, because if you recall back, you know, if you go back to the incident that you're referring to, there was a deputy that was injured
Yes, sir.
and almost got killed.
Yep.
Our officers were pinned down. They couldn't move. They were taking rounds from a suspect who was high grounds, shooting at officers. We were only able to get him out of there thanks to this piece of equipment. And actually, to your point about we have everything that we need, obviously we don't, because if you go back to February 22nd, 2022, excuse me, February 25th, 2022, Officer J.D. Alvarado was killed in the line of duty. Obviously, he didn't have all the equipment that he needed.
That was just an unfortunate traffic stop.
Not that it's an
unfortunately.
unfortunate traffic stop, sir. Somebody was set out to kill him. There are people out there that want to kill cops. So unfortunately, yes, if I can provide my officers with equipment to stay safe, yes, I will do so, gladly do so. So they don't have to look at the JD's family in the face, somebody else's family, and say, I'm sorry, the officer got killed because we didn't have the equipment, because we had too much. It's never too much, in my opinion. We have to be safe. So,
What equipment would have
did
helped
you
in
have
that
a
situation?
did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I've always wondered, instead of, I mean, I know you don't go up there and kill a person because you want to, but I mean, there's means, like let's say, especially Sun Street, I mean, instead of all these hours, all this going on, wouldn't tear gas would have done it quicker, I mean, to get him out or flush him out or?
It did. We used a lot of tear gas.
Yeah.
We talked to him for hours. For hours. We're not looking to kill anybody. That's not what we're trying to do.
But
And
you
when
said
an
you got
officer
it out.
shoot, they try to stop the threat. That's what they're trying to do. So with this particular incident, we spent hours talking to him. There was no communication. We sent in our drones. You saw the drones that I'm asking a replacement for, because we say, hey, we want to end this peacefully. Even if it's going to take 2 days, let's end it peacefully. That wasn't, obviously, it was our choice to end it peacefully. It wasn't his choice. So we tried and we used tear gas. He was prepared.
So what does tear gas really do? I mean, you shoot it, it falls in there and?
Disperse gas to the point that
You
it
can't
forces
rest.
you out because you can't breathe. Well, he was well prepared for it. So
Okay.
I can't, it's an ongoing investigation, so I can't give you too many details, but he was definitely prepared for it. So we tried. We tried every which way we could.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving away from that, back to the drones, how far down do the drones fly?
What do you mean by how far down?
How far down to the ground do the drones fly? Are they only getting aerial pictures, or are they coming down and looking through people's windows?
No, we
Or
don't.
how do you fly
We don't
that?
peek into people's windows or anything like that, no. That's not what they're used for. Depending on the situation that we're in, drones can fly all the way to the ground.
Okay.
So there's definitely.
But
using
in what
drones.
situation, I mean, what laws restrict you from going down and peeking through windows?
We have the Fourth Amendment, so
Well, I mean,
that's a specific, it's not even a law. It's a constitutional amendment.
I
So
know how
the
you
Fourth
guys feel
Amendment.
about those, so.
Please, sir, do not say that you know how I feel about the U.S. Constitution, because I died for the U.S. Constitution. So do not say that how you know how I feel about it. You and I have never discussed
say
it.
what I like.
So please, but please don't insult me. At least give me the
Don't
courtesy of not
don't
insulting
insult
you.
me.
Oh, I'm not insulting you. I'm telling you, do not say that you know how I feel, because you
I'm
don't.
not saying now, but.
Any other question that I can answer for you guys or ladies? That's it? Well, thank you for participating, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Bringing gear, for a trade car,
No, everybody that utilizes our equipment is trained, is properly trained in the equipment. Obviously, we don't want anybody getting hurt, so that's what we follow.
I mean, I know in the last 20 years in general, it seems like there has been a change. I mean, there used to be, there's still being activity, but it seems like you guys are slowly cleaning it up. It seems better than it was 20 years ago, in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate that, but as I say, it's not us, it's
Yeah.
us, the community.
Well, the community, yeah,
working together. Absolutely, that's what we're doing, so.
Gotcha.
AB 481 equipment allows us to achieve those goals.
Right. So, and you guys got a presentation for us or anything, or?
We did, we went to the presentation, so
I missed it.
started at 6.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's okay. We will have one again, first quarter of 2024.
There is one of these, though I think these are
You're
available.
welcome to take one.
There we go.
It's also online, you can find it online if needed, so. We just printed a couple extra just in case people
Gotcha.
wanted to have one,
Oh,
but
definitely, glad to know what's going on in the community.
absolutely.
Thank you for taking our questions. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for.
Wonderful.
Any other questions I can answer for you guys? About
Well, I
AB 481?
apologize if I impugned your faith in the Constitution on that. I'm just kind of wondering why you would like cover up for your predecessors on her abuses.
Did you have a question about AB 481, sir? That's what we're here for.
I'm here for all kinds of things.
This is for AB
You
481.
can choose to answer whatever you like.
Just figured since
I mean,
we're
I think
here,
that
you're
the
here, and there's
non-answer
nothing,
speaks
no one
more
else is
than the
here.
answer would.
Guys, if you're all talking at once.
You are the chief, we're just, be nice to get some answers.
Look, this is now a debate. This is to answer about AB 481, and I'm gladly answer any
So, I mean,
questions.
see, I've
about
answered
AB
the
481.
question in the appropriate avenues, and you ignored it.
Did you ask a question about AB 481, sir?
No, I've been asking you
Okay.
in the appropriate
And so I'm asking-
venues about your covering.
I can
up
answer
for
any
Chief
questions.
Today.
I can answer any questions about AB 481. that you would
When
like to
would
know.
I be able to answer that, get an answer from that
You
question?
asked me a question about AB 41, that's what we're here
That's the
for,
only
sir.
kind of questions you're ever gonna be able to answer?
This is
Tomorrow
the-
morning, next week?
Sir, if you stop
I know.
interrupting me, let me finish, I'll tell you.
No, go for it.
This is a community meeting about AB 481.
Right. The
If
meeting's
you have any
over.
questions,
The
the
meeting's
meeting is
over.
not over. The meeting is
Well,
still
since,
going.
we just
Yeah,
figured,
I
just,
know.
hear me out, since,
Thank you,
we're the
appreciate
only
that.
ones here now, it seems like,
No, it's
You're
not
on the
He's,
clock.
he's available for this issue item only.
It doesn't work that way. We don't just change a meeting because nobody else is
well, it's
here.
not changing, you said the meeting was over, you said it was over.
I didn't say, the gentleman said the meeting is
Oh.
over. I said the meeting is not over.
You
We're
said
here
we had a
for
presentation.
community meeting about AB 481, so I'll answer any questions about AB 481.
And that seems
Maybe
reasonable.
tomorrow I can come in
Well,
and
here,
ask you,
guys,
like, when you'd actually
There's
answer other questions.
no one else here, they don't wanna answer questions, they're evading, our investigation. It is what it is, guys.
So I assume that you guys are already using military type weapons, right? Is there any changes, like you guys are gonna be getting new ones or different types?
We are
or-
following AB 481 to the T. So the equipment that we have has been approved by a council to Assembly Bill 481.
Okay. Was there any new weapons that were being added?
Yeah, there are some-
Replacing damaged or destroyed ones?
We are replacing some damaged equipment. Yes, we are.
I'm just
With,
curious, where
very
did-
To the tune of
significant-
100,000.
But nothing that has been in use before?
Nothing has ever been, different model,
Just
but it's the
different
same as what we had before.
So where does all this equipment come from? Who's producing it? Who's putting it out? Who you guys have the contract in doing it? Would it be
We use
military or?
We use different vendors, there's
Right.
civilian vendors that we don't buy from the
They
military.
do have to put bids?
It's civilian vendors.
Do they put bids?
No, we don't put bids, we are only required to do RFP and bids after a certain amount.
Does anyone here within this department have friends, family, or relatives from those places where we purchased that equipment?
I don't
That you
know,
know of, to the best of your knowledge?
to the best of my knowledge, no, but I don't know where all the equipment comes from, and I don't know all the families that are involved, so I have no idea.
So you don't know where the equipment that you purchased
I
comes
know who
from?
the vendors are, I know some of the vendors are.
Okay.
Their makeup, I do not know, but
Where could we get a list of the vendors?
I'm sure you can probably file a Public Records Act request, and we can provide a list of the
With
vendors.
what agency?
With the Salinas Police Department.
Okay, well, it's
Regarding,
not an unusual question.
AB, no, absolutely, I'm answering the question.
All right.
Absolutely, about AB 481, you can file if you go on the city website, they're actually facilitating doing a public request act, request. Sorry about the play on words, but.
But I mean, is there a special form? Because I tried filling out public request act requests before and gotten nowhere with it. No body cams I've requested, except for the one that was
Are you requesting about AB 481,
redacted.
sir?
Yeah,
That's
no,
what we're
just
talking
a
about.
request about public records.
The
Act.
City of Salinas website walks you through about Public Records Act.
We're just pointing out that, you know, for transparency purposes, you guys say you're all about transparency, but yet half the time when we put requests in for simple stuff, it's hard
Again,
to
sir.
get. It's hard to get from this department.
I don't know how else to explain it. This is a community meeting about AB 481. If you have questions about
And that's why we
AB
want to make
481,
sure if we
I'd
put the
gladly
request
answer.
in,
Yeah, well, this is
that it's gonna go to the proper person and that it's gonna get looked at and taken care of, you know?
You submit the request, sir, and it will be properly handled.
Who would that go to? Public records?
I don't know who that person would go to, depending on the request.
So for a public records request on what we were just discussing, who would that go to?
Watch
What do
commander.
you mean by what we've been requesting? discussing. AB 481, you submit a Public Records Act request, it goes to our city attorney, and then from there, it gets disseminated to whomever needs to be disseminated to.
I think too, guys, just to add to this, if you go on our website or you take a look at your AB 41 annual report that you have, take a look in there. Every piece of equipment that we have, the manufacturer is actually listed. So what we do is like, say drones. We use DJI a lot, and you guys are probably familiar because you guys.
But you're not buying
look
them from
you
the
guys are
factory.
What's that?
You're not buying them from the
So
factory.
what
Yeah, I saw
I would
that.
say is that any AB 481 purchases are required to go through city council. Those are all public records.
Yeah.
And so you can look at the Legistar to find out the vendors for anything that we purchase. They're all available in our city council.
That's a great answer, thank you.
But I think, so if you guys have any interest knowing what we use, you can look at the manufacturer and then you can go on their website and then, find out a little bit more about it. We try to
Like
list
your
in the
name,
annual
please.
report, we try to list, what the description is, but I'm sure if you go on their website, they can tell you a little bit more about what that piece of equipment is.
You guys might want to consider making a.
Right, 30,000, I think, for the drone.
What's that?
30,000, what makes it a 30,000 value?
Oh, man, that's,
Well, I mean,
I'm not a techie.
You
I don't
just put it
know.
back on your
Okay.
stomach.
So what is the training cost
Was that
for
intentional
someone
or
to
is
go
that
through the
a-
training?
No, I think it's just the way it
for the
goes.
drone training?
There's this side which has our access.
What the cost is?
Yeah, like to fly the drone, I mean, I know there's some
When you're.
We have no
classes
way of,
involved.
we have no way of
Thank you.
divide up what's
Maybe
AB
consider
481
making
and
it
what's non-AB
a bar bill
481.
instead.
So I can now tell you specifically.
So does AB 481 include military training?
I don't know what you mean by military
Like the
training.
funding. doesn't
We don't
come
train
from-
with the military.
Like
You
training
don't
with the
train with
military?
like Israeli military dudes or to learn how to bust down doors or nothing like that?
No.
No, not yet? Alright, cool.
It's not a camera.
Any other questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, body cams, are they part of all that too to help keep you guys safe?
They're not part of AB 481.
Okay. Maybe we could try to get that in there?
They're not part of AB 481.
No, he's just not gonna talk to you about it.
Okay.
I saw you had, you said
could.
dissolvable
Yeah. It'd be easy enough.
bullets as well as the 42 millimeter ones.
40 mils?
Yeah, those are rubber bullets, right?
Correct.
And so they're both less lethal, but and I think you never used the rubber bullets, but you used the salt packets or what? The other one, did you
No,
use those at
the
all?
only thing we use on the 40 millimeter, they're actually, they're not rubber, they're foam. So they're a little softer. Rubber, probably a little bit harder. So they're foam batons. And that's specifically what they're used for, is just less lethal. It's like a baton, but an extended baton where you shoot it out. That's what it's intended for. And that's either to de-escalate the situation, to get compliance from an individual that's, not obeying commands, especially if they're under arrest, or fleeing, stuff like that. So those are specifically less lethal rounds. And we only use one type of less lethal round, that's it, on that 40 mil.
But did you use it last year, I guess, 2022, or?
Yes.
What that was?
We deployed it 9 times in 2022.
Okay, thank you.
Good recollection there. But yeah, it's every usage on AB 41 equipment, you'll see, it'll tell you exactly how many times we used it.
Right, I'll double check the PowerPoint.
I mean, if you go on the website, it's kind of neat. It's like
And it's
flipping
in the
a,
report, the report's
flipping a
being-
page and
Excellent.
look, so.
Does it say the injuries like received by the people, you know, getting shot?
It doesn't say on there, but anytime we deploy something like that, we do a use of force report, and it's an internal document, and that gets reported because it goes up to court and everything, so. Injuries, you know, they vary. Sometimes, you know, there's no injuries. It just all depends on, you know, we train specific parts of the body to hit with the 40 mil, so. But it's just, AB 41 just describes usage. It doesn't describe all the other stuff. There's other reports for that.
What about any, net guns?
Oh, yeah.
Like a gun with a net?
Yeah, like in Korea.
Aquaman. I've
Yeah,
seen some
Korea.
videos like that.
Yeah.
I've seen those too. There's agencies that have those.
I've seen some like highway patrol type vehicles use them where they now have them where they can shoot at the tires, but they also have the guns
Yeah.
for restraining people, like, you know, non-lethal.
Yeah, we don't have any of those, but I know what you're talking about. I've
I don't
seen
know if
them
that's
out
something
there.
that,
In
I
India,
remember
they
I
just
saw
got
it.
long ass sticks.
yeah, that works too.
Back to
Seems to
whip.
work just fine.
10-foot pole?
Bring back the whip.
The thing is, the more stuff you have,
Kids
right,
don't
you have
get
to be more
all
proficient in
excited
everything.
about it though.
Try to be proficient in
I
certain
think someone's
things, right?
running, you know, you shoot them with a net, just gets over them, they get tangled up.
The agencies that
You know,
use
with
those,
kids
I don't
like it.
know how successful they are with them. I don't
Say, it
know.
might probably be hard, but then you have to untangle them too, and you can't really see what they're doing, and
Hmm,
Maybe.
can be a wad.
Any other questions I can answer for you guys?
I'm good. What about you gentlemen?
I'm just waiting for the meeting, dude.
It's not about
Appreciate your
the,
time,
it's not about the military weapons, but does that uniform, doesn't have any kind of name tag or anything like that?
It's because I wear my vest on the outside. So I have a vest like my sergeant does,
Like this?
and it has all the stuff on the outside. Unfortunately, we're so short staffed, I'm out working traffic duties also. We had back to school days, so anyhow, this coming to me meeting, it's about AB 481. So any other questions I can answer for you guys? Because if not, I'm going to attend to some other business I got to attend to. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
The thing that we had at the Rotunda, you were there.
Yeah.
We
You
talked.
remember him?
We had equipment.
Oh, yeah, he remembers.
Yeah, I remember Frank.
Yeah, he
You
remembers.
catch up with
Absolutely.
him again?
No.
No, we're not
Take care of him
friends.
later?
We're not friends. He doesn't like me.
Better take care of
You
him
know,
later, huh?
Yeah, I know better to report
There's a
it.
certain
You
way,
better
you
take care
know.
of him later, huh?
Yeah, we're dealing with the homicide
gotta
suspect
take
during
care
that
of him
time,
later.
so he can't be where he was, you know.
He could be
thought
where he
could be.
was. He could be exactly where he was.
Okay, wow.
You know? I
Public
mean,
We have difference of
sidewalks.
opinion, right? So,
And it looks like we're getting off AB 41 again.
well, AB 41 means over, man.
And differences of opinions though doesn't trump our rights, that's the bottom line.
It's all right. Well, there's no rights violated. There was no wrongdoing. We know that, so we got over that. I'm just glad you guys got the guy, to be honest.
yeah, we did.
You know, I really don't want to see no one get hurt on either side. You guys as well, as far as citizens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he was doing, was it keeping you from doing that?
Okay.
I mean, can you help me out?
But I know everybody in the neighborhood
You
was
can't
able
help
to
me out
hear
at all.
No,
that there was a minor right there, so.
because you know what,
They're looking
anything I
out for
say,
announcing it.
it's not gonna matter.
You don't think?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think?
I don't
I'm
think so.
sitting here asking you,
Well,
for
not,
real.
you know, not when you come in here and you wear a shirt that's cops lie, you've worn it.
Well, that's
10 times.
absolutely.
So are you saying
fact.
cops never lie?
I mean,
I'm not saying that.
all right. I
Okay.
mean,
Like I said, everybody has their.
Can't
opinion.
say it with a clean
but
conscience.
you can't
huh?
get hurt feelings over
I
it.
don't get hurt feelings.
Well, you're not going to talk. You're not going to talk to me because I'm wearing the shirt.
Well, it's like the chief said, right, we're here on the clock till 7:30 to discuss AB 41.
What time is it?
In fact, I don't know if there's, you know,
Oh, wow.
we still gotta
No,
go.
same folks.
45,
Yeah.
40 minutes, so.
Wow.
So, I mean,
That's a member of
So
the-
talk about AB 4081, please. Yeah.
Never know, somebody might come in a little later, you know?
Well, yeah, we were kind of surprised that only really basically 2 people and a bunch of cameras, you know.
these guys have a lot more.
And they're on the advisory
What
committee.
happened? I mean, I remember with Frise, she would get like 20 or 30
I
different
think she
people
changed back over.
commenting on her stuff all the time.
I don't have Facebook.
Yeah, but
The
as
long
soon as she
social
went,
media.
all those people evaporated. I wonder if like, that was really different people.
I don't know.
She was crazy. She was the same.
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know?
You got your opinion, right?
Well, you know, I got facts. She's not working no more. You know? For good
Well, she
reason.
is working, she's not a chief.
She's not gonna go be a cop again.
Yeah.
So that's all I care about. I don't want her to starve to death, eat captive or nothing like that. But she got no business being controlling people's rights.
You keep track of her? I don't know where she's at, I mean, seriously, no. Is she-
Yeah, I do. I keep track.
No, I don't know.
Second by second.
I don't know, I mean, it's easy to track people, for sure.
I know, you guys would know what I'm doing, huh? What's my name? You know me.
Famous or infamous, depending on who you ask.
What's that?
Famous or infamous, depending on who you ask.
Oh, they know everything.
They locked it.
You know the restaurant's still open?
Yeah, it's still open. That might lock though, so just knock when you come back.
No, but I mean, since this is something that I'm interested in as a hobby, I mean, taking photographs, I mean, how does one know whether or not they're affecting a homicide investigation?
If you got questions about 41, man, we are more than happy to discuss those with you guys.
Wasn't talking to you.
And that's
I'm
what
just
it is.
saying.
I mean, I'm just saying, this is a chat between two fellers.
And there's, there's.
You know,
law.
can we not have a chat between two fellers?
There's laws that you can look up, I'm sure, I mean, come on. there's-
No, I'm saying, how do I modify, how do I make sure my behavior is above reproach?
Like I said, there's laws.
So, I mean, I gotta be a lawyer?
We're done, like I said.
Well, I mean, that's silly,
Before you
that's
want
silly.
to-
You just gotta know the laws. You just gotta know the laws.
Okay.
And then,
I know it's
when
general.
we talk about laws, you just gotta believe they exist. And, you know, I mean, you guys do that. I mean, you guys will tell people, you are breaking a law. There is this law, this law, this law. Those laws don't exist, right? You take advantage of the ignorance of people, of the lack of civics education from the public school system, right? I mean, I got stories related to me from all kinds of people telling me about how the man denied IDs just for sitting in a parking lot, this kind of thing. I mean, you know, I understand you guys' position, you guys only want to talk about one thing, got the batteries stuck in your back, a program for one thing, but I mean, my opinion is this would be a community engagement opportunity for you. I don't have my camera on. I mean, but you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah, we gotta talk about 481, that's what we're getting paid for right now, so.
We're not going to snitch on you.
Well.
And you know what, I mean, if somebody comes in right now. that-
I mean, 481, apparently 481
Appreciate it.
business is making sure kids have shit to playground, you know, to crawl all over at the fair. You know, I mean,
And that's your opinion, I mean.
well, it was part of the presentation, my friend. Wasn't it, did you not share that part of the presentation? About how it's super popular and everybody loves it? I mean, I'm sure I'd love to have it show up for a garage sale and, you know, advertise my deal, you know? Maybe kids down the street can get it with their bouncy house for their, you know, their top arrow and, you know, have a party. You know, at what point does, you know, what do you have to rate as a member of the public in order to get this equipment out? I mean, you gotta be like the rodeo, you gotta be like, what? What do you gotta do?
I'm not sure what your.
Well, I
question
mean,
is.
are these people paying any money for this stuff to come out?
Absolutely not.
All right, so if I ask it to come out, you wanna come out?
If you're having a community event, say you're.
How big does the
sponsoring something-
community event have to be?
I'm sorry?
How big does it have to be?
I can tell you.
I'll tell you, I take the request. Everything's on a case-by-case basis. We have a teacher that calls us and wants to have it out to their classroom for 22 kids. They wanna.
Okay, so for about 20, 30 kids, you'll bring it out?
It just depends on the type of event.
Or does that have to be for like the government?
I'm not, the government, no.
Well, school teacher, you're saying a school teacher, right?
Yeah. That's the majority.
I'm assuming you're not bringing it out to private schools, are you?
We'll look at it. We'll look at any request. The request was for Compass Church last weekend. So
Yeah, I got a problem with that too, but I mean,
big.
They had a community event, they asked if we could bring it out, they brought a bunch of other trucks from the community, and we brought our truck out too.
Did you do that for all religions?
If they asked, like I said,
All
look
right.
at them all.
All
I
right,
haven't really denied too many.
all right. Satanic temple, here we come.
And you were again, I'm sorry, Heckman, right?
Yeah.
Got you.
Does it kind of bum you guys out that none of the community really shows up for these things?
Do you think you could have done a better job advertising?
Oh, it was well advertised for sure.
Oh, yeah, well, you guys, sure you guys spend
I
money on
s-
it.
No, we don't spend money, we just
Yeah.
put it out to the media,
Word
they
of
put
mouth.
it out, I saw KIMN.
It just gets created
Oh,
out
okay.
of nothing. huh?
Yeah, we put it out, our social
I don't remember
media.
getting a invitation to post it. You said you put it out to the media. We're all media.
You are? You have any credentials?
Yeah.
Can I see them?
That's
Credentials.
under, if you go to the First Amendment website.
So by credential, you mean sponsored, paid advertising?
Press
Mainstream.
credentials.
Well,
It's a good question,
corporate.
I don't know.
They don't
Yeah.
exist. They don't exist.
You wouldn't know what they look like if you got them,
No,
huh?
I
That's a
would.
funny ass question.
No, I would.
I challenge you,
What do
50
they look
bucks.
like? Well, who issues them?
I don't know who issues
What
them.
government
You tell me.
agency? What
The
government
government
agency?
agency.
I don't know, you tell
No.
me.
Who-
Apparently you
Let me
know.
ask you something, let me ask you something.
All right, we're done.
Do we have a
Yeah.
is driving a privilege or a right?
Well, that's not related to the meeting. You can't answer that.
Oh, you can't answer a simple thing. like
privilege.
Driving a privilege or a right?
All right.
It's a right?
Privilege.
Right, it's a privilege, right?
No, I'm
So
asking.
you have to have a license to drive, right?
All right.
So does the
Once
Constitution say
again,
that
once
the
again, it
press
doesn't matter what I
has
say.
it?
You
You
need
have-
a hunt, yeah,
Just
hunting,
listen.
a hunting and
If
fishing
you got
license.
any
Just listen.
questions regarding April
Just
21,
listen. Just
we'll
listen.
talk.
Just listen then. Just let you have to
Well,
talk.
this was about that, because you mentioned that how you were advertising for this particular meeting, for this incident. You said, you put it out for like media, and we have 5 members here of the media, including myself. And I don't know about them, I can't speak for them, I
Has-
speak for myself, but I didn't get any invitation to do this.
Has anybody registered with police department to receive correspondence?
Gotcha.
That's how
I just know that.
Yeah.
And
If,
as a media person, you pick it up. Which
They'll have events where they'll say only credentialed media allowed.
that has happened. You know, the JD Alvarado thing, I got threw out when you had over $500 million worth of equipment and people in there. It was a public, that was a public funeral.
I did see some markers over there behind that little podium. I can write a little paper that says press if that would help you guys.
My wife's got a.
No, well, I would say the thing to do is give them your email to the PIO, and that PIO would say that I will send you all communications that would go to anybody.
That's a good idea.
Maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Then you will be accredited, or,
I just know a lot of them already know me by my last name. They shouldn't have any issues finding me.
well, it's a routine, and the way that they do business, we have to fall in line with what they do.
Yeah, and then they gotta screen
Is that
us
why
and see
the
if we're gonna be able to
Facebook's
get
more
our questions
professional nowadays?
regulated and.
Right?
Like I said,
Can
I
we-
have no idea, I'm not.
Can we leave an email with somebody for future communications?
Who's in charge of your social media?
I don't know. Good question.
Chief maybe, or you have an actual?
They try not to say anything on social media.
Try and find out who banned me from their website, from their page.
Can you do that? Can you block people on a public?
And that's why they don't have no job no more.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm that guy.
So you're back on now?
Huh?
They re-let you back in?
Yeah, about a week before she decided she was gonna take more time off to stay with her family.
Does anybody want to leave their email address behind, and would you guys be able to connect that for us?
I have to find out what PIO is. He's connected to the media. That is not my department.
No, it's
All
nobody's
right.
department, that's the thing, who would go
Right,
out?
who do we ask?
I don't know.
Go up to those girls
All
in
right.
the front.
We'll try the clerk
They're all
maybe.
scared and take off to the back room and not talk to anybody. All right,
Oh.
I mean,
Talk for a while.
then we get some schmuck like Dino Sanchez just decide I'm not gonna take your complaint, because he didn't sign in. All right, and on camera, man, you're embarrassing you guys. Yeah,
that one.
and, you guys don't wanna talk about like making shit better. People talk about 80/21 and everything else. I mean,
We still got 25 minutes. to talk
but if I
about
came
it.
back tomorrow, you wouldn't talk to me at all, you would have no time for me. Right? You gonna talk to me tomorrow? Chief gonna have time for me tomorrow?
Like I said, he has a secretary that you can go through. I'm not the chief secretary.
That is true, you're not. I did not mistake you for that. Right. We'll be keeping an eye over our shoulder for you now.
Okay.